Patriots' 10-game win streak is over, and now they have to travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. What do they have to do to get back on the winning track? Let's break it down.
He sacks Henderson into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots!
Welcome, everybody. It's Deuce and Lazar back for Week 16. Hard to believe it, Ev. We're approaching the end of the season. The games are getting important. Big game last week for the Patriots. Fortunately, they lost for the first time in 10 games. The win streak is over, and now they got to go to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, not himself, but this is still an experienced Ravens team, knows how to win. They're hanging by a thread. I feel like the Patriots got to be ready for everything the Ravens got in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big test of culture. It's easy to have great culture when you win 10 games in a row and all the vibes are high. But I remember Mike Vrabel back in January at his introductory press conference said, we'll learn about our culture when we get punched in the mouth. And Patriots got punched in the mouth in the second half against Buffalo. So how they respond to that is going to tell us a lot about this team. And Sunday Night Football, the Ravens have an MVP quarterback. It's a good football team they're going up against. So a win would do a lot, both internally and externally, to quiet some of the noise about that Buffalo loss.
Yeah, going back to earlier in the season, back when the Patriots lost football games before this in September.
Did that happen? I don't remember.
But good bounce backs then. You went down to Miami. You got to win. You held serve against Carolina, took that momentum on to Buffalo. But really, I'm looking right now, Ev, as far as the Patriots are concerned, some of the injuries with Robert Spillane not playing last week. Milton Williams has been out. And we've been talking a lot about this run defense that started off great.
Yeah.
They've kind of slowly been descending ever since Milton Williams went out. Last week, as much about the scheme and just kind of guys not playing together, now you have Derrick Henry, of course, Lamar Jackson. Even if he's not running like he once was, this is still a really dangerous run attack. Feels like it all starts with stop the run.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the best rushing offenses in football that they're going to go up against. And I think the number one thing that stands out to me, Deuce, is the explosive runs. It's not just that they're going to get you 3, 4, 5 yards at a time. They're second in the league right now in explosive run rate. So those big plays off the running game. And then they also get big plays on the play action game or the RPOs and all those different elements. So this is an early down offense. They are going to stay ahead of the chains. They're going to hit you with big plays on first and second down. And the key always really against this Baltimore team is, can you get them off schedule and can you get them into third and long? So you mentioned the run fits last week wasn't exactly up to standard. You'd like to see them button that up. You're not going to get all these guys back, it doesn't sound like. So the personnel might be roughly the same, but can you be a little bit more assignment sound and detail oriented this week?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Patriots offense, too. Going against the Ravens defense that really started off the year pretty poorly. I mean, they gave up 40 points there, 41 points to the Bills. I mean, let's face it, that's not too bad when you consider what we've seen Josh Allen do to the league. But overall, this is a defense that has some talent. Kyle Hamilton, maybe the headliner, old friend Kyle Van Noy. Some of their statistical rankings, it all kind of comes out in the middle of the wash. You look at like 16th in points, 23rd in yards, 21st in DVO. Nothing all that impressive. But I think when you just look at the players and the way they're playing right now and the experience that they have, feels like it's going to be a pretty big challenge for the offense here.
Yeah, it's similar to the offensive side of the ball. Like on offense, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Derrick Henry, you have all this name recognition. On defense, you have Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey and really good football players that have played well over the years for Baltimore. And it just hasn't necessarily come together for the Ravens the entire year. Lamar's been in and out. The defense started really slow. But since week 6, they're the number 2 scoring defense in football, and they're the number 1 run defense in football as well. So they're really difficult to run the ball on, which has put teams behind the chains and in those third down situations where now all of a sudden the Ravens can start drawing up schemes and pressures and all that creative stuff that you see coordinators do on third down. And that's exactly what happened last week to the Bengals, who got shut out for the first time in Joe Burrow's career by this Baltimore defense. They lived in third and long. All of a sudden on third and long, you got cover 0, you got different pressures. Where's it coming from? What's the rotations look like? And that was a lot of what we saw in the second half against Buffalo for the Patriots. So this is a big game of staying on schedule, keeping them out of those third down exotic schemes, because they can draw it up on you like they did against the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, this is always a Ravens team that just has 2 big bodies inside. It feels like 2 big defensive tackles, monstrous size, hard maybe for the Patriots to get their run game going. But we did see a quality performance last week. Maybe a little bit, over highlighted because of TreVeyon Henderson's 2 long touchdown runs, but maybe there were some signs of life for the Patriots run game. Is that the key to getting this game going and keeping the Patriots ahead of this chain?
It's a tough defense to run on, and I think that's the biggest thing. And Roquan Smith's a hell
Everywhere.
of a player too. That's a guy that just makes a ton of tackles at the second level of their defense. But at the same time, I did think that this was probably the Patriots' best performance running the ball, especially in the first half against Buffalo. That was some of the best run blocking that they've had all year long. They had 89 yards before contact, which was a season high for the Patriots last week against the Bills. Now, the Bills' run defense is not so good, and the Ravens' run defense is really good. So maybe that was a product of the opponent a little bit as well. But you like to think that maybe this offensive line found something of how can we run the football? What schemes are we best at? That sort of thing, and go that direction again this week. So yeah, the 2 runs obviously help inflate some of those yards per carry numbers, but that's the point of running the ball is, you hit them with singles, and then you hope the dam breaks at some point. And it did twice for TreVeyon Henderson. So I think that running the football, obviously throwing on early downs as well with play action and easy kind of layup throws, which I thought they were missing kind of in the second half of that Buffalo game, to try to get Drake Maye a little bit into a rhythm is going to be important.
Let's get a little nerdy, Evan. I know you're not afraid to. We'll get a little catch-22 style here.
Yeah.
But we talked about during the week with Patriots Unfiltered, you pointed out that the Bills last week went to a lot of cover 2,
yes.
In the second half, and the Patriots weren't really able to run on it. They didn't run on it. I mean, they didn't really possess the ball or get much of a chance to. But, I look at the next-gen stats for the Ravens. I mean, it seems like they're more of a team that I know they do a lot, but, I mean, they're 7th in man, 6th in single high,
yes.
22nd in blitz, 29th in pressure rate. So,
yeah.
It seems like they might have to get a little bit outside of their comfort zone if they want to replicate that Bills plan. Do you think that's what Drake Maye should expect, see more of this cover 2? And again, does it get back to the run if they do that?
Yeah, I absolutely think that's what they should expect because it's a copycat league. And then once you see a blueprint put on film by a team, teams are going to try to replicate it. And the Ravens do play a lot of man coverage, so they might not play it with 2 high safeties all the time, but they do play man-to-man quite a bit. So now it's just an adjustment of putting the safety up top. And I think the biggest reason why the Bills had success with that is because it takes away the deep ball from Drake Maye. And that's his best throw. That's his signature trait right now, is the ability to throw the ball down the field. And so if you take away the bombs from him and you kind of make him march and matriculate the ball down the field and be patient and take those profits, that's where Buffalo kind of got him. And so I think that's the message this week for Drake Maye. He said on Wednesday that he's battled that really going all the way back to college because he's so good at throwing the deep ball. So you kind of get caught up in trying to hunt those big plays. But sometimes the right play is just taking the check down or taking the profit underneath the defense and just keeping your offense. He said instead of 2nd and 10, now we're in 2nd and 5, and it's a much easier or more manageable situation. So I fully expect to see man-to-man. I fully expect to see 2 high safeties. I fully expect Baltimore to spy Drake Maye a little bit like Buffalo did in the second half. So it was a really good plan by the Bills, and I would fully expect all these defenses that are, playoff caliber to try to do the same thing. I don't know if the Jets and Dolphins are going to be able to do it at that level, but a team like the Ravens, whoever they play in the playoffs, they will be able to do stuff like that.
And to that point, I mean, Kyle Hamilton, such a chess piece for them. I mean, coming down in the box, I mean, you talk about matchup playing man. I mean, he's probably a guy going to see some Hunter Henry, Marlon Humphrey a little bit in the slot, on Stephon Diggs perhaps in some key moments. Those seem to me like 2 of the key matchups in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's something that gets left out with this Buffalo second half because it all comes down to the quarterback so often. But I didn't think the receivers were really seeing it very well either in that second half. So a lot of this is, they're going to clamp down on Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs. That's clearly the game plan right now is we're going to take away those guys. We're going to put 2 high safeties over the top. So now you can't throw the bombs to Booty and Kyle Williams on the outside. And it's sort of like, well, what are you left with at that point? So I think you're going to see a lot more of that. And the Patriots are going to have to find ways. And I think one of the things that they could do, that I look at with this Bills game is like, could Drake Maye have ran a little bit more? And could he have started to just kind of break contain and get outside the pocket and try to make plays in, playground mode or just with his legs scrambling? Because if you're going to get those 2 high safeties, it's going to open the middle of the field and you can get scrambles by the quarterback in those situations. He could run them out of it, right? And I think that's really, like you were saying, whether it's the conventional run game or Drake running, like if you're going to get those 2 high safeties, the book is, well, run them out of it. Run at the lighter boxes, quarterback runs, that sort of thing, and maybe then they have to put the extra hat in the box.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting down to it here. Playoffs are closing in fast. Patriots, Ravens, Sunday Night Football. These matchups historically, always great one. We'll see you then.